I am not always a great person. And it's not that I'm a bad person per se, it's just that maybe I'm kind of a mischievous person, as you will. If I see an opportunity to create a little bit of chaos in a way that doesn't hurt anybody, I'm probably going to take the opportunity to do that. And let me give you an example of this. I have the best mother-in-law in the entire world. Not only did she help raise the woman that I ended up marrying, but she puts up with me as a son-in-law. My mother-in-law, her name is Julie, has a few love languages, and food is maybe the strongest love language. Let me tell you, the woman can cook. If you've never had a Julie Gregg meal, and I imagine most of you haven't, it is easily on par with one of those gigantic feasts that you would see in a movie. Essentially, there's a main course, which is always delicious, but there are typically anywhere from 8 to 10 homemade side dishes that Julie works hard on and will plan for weeks in advance to prepare. Julie knows food. She knows the foods that she likes, and she knows the best way to prepare them. And that's why I'm maybe not a great person, because I saw an opportunity for just a little bit of mischief. I saw an opportunity to create just a little bit of chaos, and I just couldn't help myself. Last February, the Gregg family visited our house to celebrate Katie's dad's birthday. Now, because we were hosting, we offered to prepare the birthday meal. We thought that that would be appropriate. Katie's dad, his name is Larry, he decided that for his birthday, he wanted a ham. Most people will prepare ham in the oven, but this is where we decided to have a little bit of fun. We went online and we looked up a recipe for a baked ham on the Food Network website. The recipe that we found was put together by a guy named Guy Fieri. You've probably seen him before. He's the Food Network cook, kind of famous. He's got the spiky blonde hair. He's got a chain of restaurants, Flavor Town's kind of his thing. The recipe that he had was a standard oven-baked ham recipe, nothing special. But what we did is we copied that recipe into a new document. And then we copied the Food Network logo into the corner. We then changed the recipe from oven-baked ham to ham in a tub. Let me show you what this looks like. This is what it looked like when it was all said and done right there. It looks like a real recipe, right? After we got done modifying this recipe, we printed it off and we put it on the kitchen table and left it there because we had a pretty good sense that Julie was going to find it on that table and have a lot of questions about our intentions for preparing this birthday ham. Since our recipe looked exactly like the type of recipe you'd print off the internet, we couldn't wait to see her reaction. Sure enough, within just a few minutes, Julie found the tub ham recipe sitting on the kitchen table. "You are cooking a ham in your bathtub," is what Julie says with her eyebrow raised. And I respond, "Yeah, of course we're cooking a ham in the bathtub. It's the new way to cook ham. Everyone's doing it. What you do is you fill the bathtub with hot water and you let the ham cook in the tub and then you serve it. It's delicious." And she goes, "You've tried this before?" "Absolutely," I respond. "Tub ham is great." Because you prepare the ham in the bathtub, you don't lose any of the juices like you would if you were cooking it in a standard oven. You know what I mean? You won't regret tub ham. In fact, I would be honored, Julie, if you would help me prepare this birthday ham for dinner tonight. So she agrees to help cook tub ham. After all, the recipe was from Guy Fieri. It had to be good. Later that afternoon, when it's finally time, I asked Julie if she would draw a bath so that we can cook the ham. She walks into the bathroom, and within just a minute, I can hear the water running. "Make sure it's really hot," I yell from across the room. "We want to make sure this thing cooks well." Julie looks into the bathtub, and we have an 8.5-month-old son. His name's Jack, and you've probably seen these before. It's like a little basin that you put a baby in so you can give them a bath. They don't tip over and submerge themselves in the water. "Bryan," says Julie, "you've got Jack's baby safety bathtub here in the tub. Should I take it out before the ham goes in?" And I said, "No, Julie, that's not a baby bath. It's actually a ham holder, you see. That's what the ham sits in so it doesn't move around too much in the water. Helps the whole thing cook better." "Hey, Julie," I yell out from across the room, "I need you to check the temp of the water. Here's a thermometer. The ham cooks best at 140 degrees, so make sure that water is really, really hot." "Hey, Julie, I got the ham spices ready to go. Dump a bunch of these into the water. You really can't over-season this ham. Here's some garlic, here's some seasoned salt, here's some other stuff. It's gonna go right there. We're gonna make a whole thing for this ham inside of our bathtub." Sure enough, every request I made to Julie, she fulfilled. After all, it was on the recipe card. If it's on the recipe card, that's what you do. Our bathroom reeked of seasoned salt and garlic. Steam was everywhere because the water was as hot as you could get it. Katie and I were only able to keep up the charade for about 30 minutes before we finally had to fess up. We told Julie that no, we were just messing with her. We were not, in fact, cooking a ham in the tub, and that this was all an elaborate prank because we saw an opportunity to have some fun. Julie was a great sport. She laughed and laughed. She thought it was the funniest thing, and so did we. When it came time to actually cook the ham, we cooked it in the oven like normal people. But we're going to be telling the story of tub ham for years and years and years. But behind this entire thing, the thing that gave this harmless prank legs was the fake recipe card from the Food Network and Guy Fieri that we had doctored to make it look real. Julie saw that red Food Network logo up at the corner and figured this was a real thing. Tub ham is real, but it's not. So what does tub ham have to do with the greatest commandment? The scripture today was from a time when the high priests were trying to come up with ways to invalidate Jesus and his teachings. If they could only catch him in some sort of contradiction in a public place, some sort of blasphemous statement perhaps, then they might have all the ammunition that they need to discredit Jesus and his entire ministry. So the high priest came up with a test of sorts, a simple test really that consisted of just one question. What is the greatest commandment in the law? Now, if you know your Bible history, if you know the book of Exodus, when you hear commandments, of course, we think of the 10 commandments. Keep the Sabbath holy. Thou shalt not kill. Honor your father and mother. Do not covet. Do not steal, etc., etc., etc. So if there's 10 commandments and they're all from God, which one is the most important? What's the one that we should hold up high above the others? What's the real important one? The high priest figured, and it was a good plan, if they could get Jesus to pick one of the commandments as most important, they could trap him, they could discredit him. But Jesus, you see, too smart for that. He came up with the greatest commandment right there on the spot. He gave them something real, something that they couldn't poke holes in. and something that I believe, if we are to call ourselves Christians, the greatest commandment becomes the single thing that defines who we are. Jesus says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. That is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is just like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. Love God. Love your neighbor. You can apply those two statements to each of the 10 commandments and have them all covered. You won't miss one. The two greatest commandments from Jesus are equal to the 10 commandments that Moses delivered to us. If you love God, you won't take the Lord's name in vain. If you love your neighbor, you won't steal from them. You can do this for every single commandment. It's simple, it's to the point, and it's about as real as it gets. Every day, I'm bombarded, and you probably are too, with stories, articles, images, real-life situations where we see people who proclaim to love Christ, yet they refuse to love their neighbor. I'm often called to respond to somebody who is trying to love their neighbor but says that they've left the church and they've left God because everything about religion is too much about hierarchy and politics. Is that true? Is that real? Well, it is for that person who says it to me. And I'm not likely to change their mind with just my words. So why does my mother-in-law draw a bath? Why does my mother-in-law throw an insane amount of spices and seasonings into that bath and even go as far as to take the temperature of the water so that she can put a ham in a bathtub? She did it because I told her it was real. I even had a Food Network logo on the recipe to back it up. If Guy Fieri says tub ham is real, then it has to be, right? But it wasn't. This week, we are all going to be faced with a test, an opportunity to express our faith in Christ in a very real way. Now, I don't know what that test is going to be for you. I don't know what that test is going to be for me, but I do know that it's going to happen. And while I know that we'll make mistakes, we're called to live into the greatest commandment. And I hope that when we face that test, we will remember to love God and to love our neighbor. So I'm speaking to you today. I am not a pastor. I'm a camp guy. My job is director of camps and retreats for the United Methodist Church, and the thousands of youth and adults that come to our camp and retreat centers every year to make friends and learn about Jesus Christ. And I love the impact that I've been able to make through this job, but I think I love the impact that other people have made on me even more. I want to tell you about a really powerful, very real experience that happened at camp. Received a phone call one day from a parent who was looking to sign her 14-year-old son up to come to camp at the Okoboji United Methodist Camp. It's where I worked for years and years and years. This 14-year-old boy had never been to camp before and was very nervous about coming to camp because he suffered from incontinence. This little boy, 14-year-old boy, he tried meds. They tried withholding liquids before bedtime. Nothing has worked. This is a legitimate medical condition. This boy is mortified by his condition, and it impacts him all the time at school, at home. He doesn't go to sleepovers at his friend's house because he's worried that they'll find out. He has to wear special clothes to try and hide his condition. You get the idea. Can this 14-year-old boy come to camp? Will he be safe at camp? Will the other boys find out? And if so, will they humiliate him? Kids can be hard sometimes. I told her what I told all parents. I said, of course your son can come. We have policies for situations just like this, and here's exactly what we do. When your 14-year-old boy, when he wakes up in the morning and he gets ready for the day, he's going to leave his sleeping bag right there. We'll work with him. Leave your sleeping bag. Don't touch it. Don't draw attention to it. Nothing. Then either myself or my staff or our camp nurse, we're going to go in, we're going to get the sleeping bag, and we're going to bring it to the washing machine. We're going to wash it while all the kids are out doing activities and Bible studies. And then we're going to bring the sleeping bag back in when it's dry. We're going to put it back in the bed. No one will ever know what happened. It'll just be there like it always was. So the 14-year-old boy gets signed up for camp. And the first morning of camp, just like we had agreed upon, we go into the cabin so we can grab his sleeping bag to take it and wash it. But we can't find the sleeping bag. Where did it go? It's supposed to be right here on the bed. We worked with this young man before. We know that he knows to leave the sleeping bag on the bed. We're going to come in and get it, but it's not where it's supposed to be. Where could it be? So we did a search all throughout the cabin. We couldn't find this soiled sleeping bag anywhere. So we go down to the nurse's station and say, have you seen the sleeping bag? Do you know what's going on? And the nurse says, yeah, I've got it right here. It's in the wash machine right now. And we go, but we didn't bring it to you. How did it get here? She didn't know. It was a mystery. We asked the camper, did you bring your sleeping bag to the nurse's station? Camper says, no, he didn't. It became one of the biggest mysteries of the week for anybody who was involved at camp that week who knew what was going on. The mystery of the sleeping bag and how it got from the cabin to the healthcare center to be washed. We washed the sleeping bag. We returned it just like we planned. The next morning, we went to do the same thing, but the sleeping bag's gone. It's already at the nurse's station. We don't know what happened. Next morning, same thing. Same thing. This goes on the entire week. And the group of boys have a great week at camp. They make friendships. They dive into their Bible studies. They have that mountaintop camp experience that as a camp and retreat administrator, you just hope and pray happens for all kids. We never found out how the sleeping bag got back to the nurse's station every morning. And we didn't want to out the boy with a medical issue by mentioning it. So the last night of camp is always kind of bittersweet. Kids come together throughout their time and they share the things that were important to them during their time together. And this 14-year-old boy who suffers from incontinence, he shared with his group how afraid to come to camp he was. He told his new friends everything, how he almost canceled his camp registration dozens of times, how he worried the entire week that somebody would find out his medical condition and they would make fun of him. And how now, for one of the first times ever, he felt safe enough to disclose his secret to his peers. His cabin mates, they listened at attention as this boy tells his story. And when he finishes talking, one of the other boys in the cabin took the moment to speak up. We know. We know. We found out that first morning when we saw your sleeping bag sitting there wet. We've known the entire week. Who do you think has been taking that sleeping bag to the nurse's station every day? Friends, that's about as real as it could possibly be for that young man. This week, you're going to be tested at some point. The other boys in that cabin, they were tested. Love God, love your neighbor. I'm not some sort of clairvoyant. I just know that the world is loud and confusing and divisive. I'm just so thankful that we have the greatest commandment to guide our way. Love God.